All right, thank you for everyone for joining. Today's webinar is going to be a What's New presentation on the new features for Hawks in winter 2020. So we'll go ahead and get started. We got a little outline here. So what we'll be going through today, first I'll be talking about our new instructor single sign-on dashboard. We'll then be going into updates to the instructor tools and resources, updates to the student courseware, updates to our LMS sync tools, and then some exciting features that will be coming soon with our next deployment. So if you have any questions as we're going through, please put them into the Q&A area at the bottom of the screen. You should see that on the Zoom window. And we'll be getting to those at the end. We should have plenty of time for questions. So feel free to put them in as we're going, but also we'll answer any that come in at the end as well. All right, so getting started, we're going to first talk about our new instructor single sign-on dashboard. So this is a very exciting feature that was released at the beginning of the fall. So many of you have probably already created your Teach accounts, but what this is going to be one single area for you to log into all of your Hawks gradebooks as well as your student account. So where you'll go is just teach.hawkslearning.com, and this will replace all of the previous gradebook URLs that you may have had saved, as well as the student URL that you might have had saved. So if you already have a student account in Hawks, then that would be the one that you use to log into Learn with. All you'll have to do is go to teach.hawkslearning.com and log in with that information right here, and that will mean your account is already created. If you did not have a student account previously, all you need to do is go to teach.hawkslearning and click on this and create an instructor account button, and you'll have a few items that you'll have to fill out to create your instructor account, but that will get created right away. Now, once that's done and you've either created your account or gone ahead and logged in, what you'll be presented with is a login screen that'll look very similar to this, and it will look blank, but what you'll need to do is add your courses in. Now, you're able to do that by just clicking the Add Course button here in the top right, and that will give you this Add Course window that will appear. Now, if you are a new user and you may have already received a course invitation email, and that will include a course link code. If you did receive that, you'll just need to paste that in here to add that course in. However, you're also able to just log in and add your course using the same credentials that you use to log into your gradebook. So right here, you would just need to make sure your school is selected, which it should be already. You'll then enter in your course ID as well as your name and then that password that you previously used to log into your gradebook. One thing I will mention is that this screen right here will be changing with our deployment that will be coming soon. So you'll have this window that will be presented with you, and you'll just need to either choose if you want to use the course link code to add the course, or if you want to log in with those gradebook credentials. So this is just a quick view for you of what those credentials look like. So that email I was talking about with the course link code, if you have received that, it will look very similar to this. And the highlighted area here is going to be where you will find that course link code that you can add. On the right side, this is just going to be that traditional gradebook login screen that you have used in the past. And this is going to be that same information that you'll need to log in with the Teach account and add that to your course. So you'll just have to use this information right here that you use to log in. And that course ID that it asks for is going to be the end of the URL up here in the top. Now, once you have added these courses in, you'll see these nice clean tiles here, and it will be a little less blank then. And what you can do is add any of your courses that you have access to. So if you have multiple gradebooks that you use for Hawks, you can add all of them in here. But also if you're an admin and you have an admin account that you use, as well as your own account that you may use, and that would be in one gradebook, you can add both of those in as well. So you can have multiple accounts set up to use for your Teach account within the same gradebook. Now, to go into any of them, all you have to do is click on one of the tiles, and that will load up your gradebook for you. So you'll see here, this is going to look very similar to what you saw previously when you were using your gradebook, because it is going to be the exact same gradebook with that same functionality that you're used to. This is just a different way to access it. Now, to switch between the different gradebooks that you have access to, all you'll have to do is click on this drop down right here, and this will give you a full list of all of your gradebooks, and you can just choose which one you want to go to, and it will switch you over to that gradebook. This means that you no longer have to sign out and sign back into your other gradebooks when you're wanting to switch, and you can easily navigate between the two. So along with having easier access to your gradebooks, this Teach account will also allow you to access your student dashboard very easily. So up here in the top right, you'll see that student dashboard button. And once you're logged in, if you click on the student dashboard, it will just automatically bring up your student account for easy access and only one login now. So this is a huge change for us and one that we were very excited about and that we've gotten a lot of great feedback for. So if you have not yet set up your Teach account, you can go to teach.hawkslearning.com to do so, or feel free to reach out to your training and support representative and we'll be more than happy to help you get that set up. All right, so some of the updates to the instructor tools and resources. So big change that we made is that you can now hide sections from your gradebook. So previously you had the ability to hide sections from students, and that would just prevent a student from enrolling in a section that you're using as a template, or maybe one that you were currently working on and weren't ready to have students enroll in. You can now also hide those sections from your own gradebook. So how this is going to work is that if you're in your section and you look at right here, we can see the screen where you go to edit your section and change those section details. Down at the bottom, we'll have visibility section settings now, and you have the option to choose to either hide from just the students or hide from your gradebook. And how this will work is that whenever you're going into any of your reports or choosing any of your templates, whether it be lesson due dates or curriculum, you'll no longer see those sections that you've hidden in that list. So this is going to allow you to keep some of your sections that you had previously, or allow you to have multiple sections that you're using as a template without having them added in and cluttering up your reports. So if I click over to the next page here, we can see that also when you're looking at your full list of sections, you also have that functionality, just hide sections like you did before, but this will then give you a screen to let you choose to hide from the gradebook or from students. So for this section right here, we have the Math 1101. We can see here it's not visible to students. It's also not visible in the gradebook, while these other two sections are. So moving over, we have a quick screenshot then how this gradebook would look then on the all student scores reports or the managed lesson due dates. You can see here that that section 1101 is hidden from that dropdown, as well as that section is not going to be listed in those. So it really allows you to just keep your gradebook looking nice and clean. So you just have to see the sections that you're currently wanting to look at through your reports. All right, so another change we made is that you can now have the ability to mark any question in a web test as bonus. So this is something that we had a lot of requests for, and we were excited to be able to make available for you all. So now whenever you're going into a web test and adding in questions, you'll be able to see now that there's going to be this bonus checkbox for any question. So how this will work is that you just need to check off the bonus question, or the question that you want to mark as bonus, and that will then make that question bonus, and you'll see that listed up here at the top. So to have that breakdown showing you that there's 10 questions plus one bonus question as well. You're able to adjust that points per step, similar to how you did for any other question for these bonus questions as well. Now, how this will look for your students, it's going to be extremely clear for your students that you have these bonus questions. So before a student starts a web test, they'll always see their max points, and they'll now have that listed right here with that +2 bonus for any bonus questions. Once the student is in a web test and they get to that question, which is bonus, it'll be clearly marked here for them that this is going to be a bonus question. And just to make sure that it's obvious for them, whenever they're going through a review or they're live and taking a web test, if they go to the navigation window in the top, they'll be able to clearly see in that list of questions which question is the bonus one. So another change to for web tests when you are creating them is that you can now also give fractional point values for any question on a web test. So you can see right here, we have the 2.5 points per step for this question. And this is going to be editable for you where you can put as little as 0.01 points for a question or as many as 99.99 points for one individual question. And this works great in conjunction with using the bonus questions as well now. All right, some updates to the student courseware. So a big change is that we now have the enhanced practice feature available for everyone. So we've been collecting performance data on hundreds of thousands of students over the years. And this has allowed us to develop an algorithm that presents questions in practice in the most impactful way to prepare students for Certify. So we have piloted this enhanced practice mode with a number of schools over the past year, and we've seen some great student performance with it. So when students using the enhanced practice mode, we've seen that 13.4% less time was spent in Certify. Students missed 10% fewer questions in Certify, and students were attempting Certify 5% fewer times. Now, this is still in a beta mode and we are still collecting this data. So while this is available for you, just so you know, if you do enable this, it is still going to be where your students will, half your class will receive the traditional practice mode, while the other half will receive the enhanced practice mode. If you do have any questions about using enhanced practice though, feel free to reach out to your training support representative and we'll be happy to give you some more information on this. And the setting is available right from within your curriculum. I'm sure many of you might have already seen it there now. So we've also updated the tutor button. This is a small change, but one that I think is impactful. And this is just that we've changed the color of the tutor button to make it much more visible for students. The tutor features in practice are extremely useful for your students and we really want them to take advantage of it. So we changed the color just to make sure that it is very visible for your students and to encourage them to use it as they're going through practice. So we have also added the keyboard shortcuts to any of the practice or certify as your students are going through them. So this was always available for them within the Hawk support page, but we wanted to make it readily available right here on the right side while they're taking their practice or certify. This is really for ease of use for all of your students, but this is going to be especially impactful for any users utilizing a screen reader. All right, so one of the big changes we made for graphs is that students now have the ability to enable a zoom and pan feature on all Cartesian graphs. This is really going to increase their usability, and it is available for both static graphs and dynamic graphs. Let's say there. So how this is going to work is that very similar to if the student was using Google Maps, they just need to double click, use a mouse wheel to scroll, or use the keyboard shortcuts to move around the graph. Now they will have to enable it whenever they see that graph. However, once it is enabled, they're also able to right click anywhere on that graph to reset that zoom level or to center their graph. So this is available for all of your students as they're going through that practice certify or any graphs that are available on WebTests as well. All right, some updates to the LMS syncing tools. So big change, which I'm sure some of you may have noticed already, is that we now have where you can sign in with your Teach account credentials to log into the sync tool. So previously you were using your individual gradebook login, and that meant that you had to type in your course ID as well. So we've changed this over so you just log in with your Hawks Teach account credentials. This means that every Hawks login that you have is now available using that one Teach account. So once again, if you have not set that up yet, I really encourage you to do so. Now, once you sign in, you will be able to use the drop-down to quickly choose your class. But this screen right here also leads me to another change that we made, and that is that within the sync tool, the students tab is now hidden by default. So if you do want to view the students tab, whenever you are syncing your sections and you're first getting them set up, all you need to do is on this window, choose your section, and then down at the bottom, you'll see this show students page checkbox. So if you select this and then click continue, that students tab will be visible for that section whenever you come back. Now, if you don't want it up there all the time, but you just want to view it at one point, if you already have your section synced, all you need to do is click the setup button in the top right. It'll ask you to log back in with your Teach account credentials, and then you can just check off the show students page button and click continue. So it's easy to enable if you do need to go back and view it. All right, so the last area for today is the coming soon, and these are a few things that I'm extremely excited about. So first thing that will be coming soon is the ability to review your questions for WebTests, to review by question for WebTests. So what this will do is allow you to review a single WebTest question for all of your students without exiting and having to re-enter. This is really going to allow you to grade individual student questions much more consistently across your class. So how this will look is that when you are in your WebTest, or when you're in and reviewing a WebTest for a student, you'll see this list up here at the top. So for any of the questions that you're on, you're able to click next and scroll through those students and see all the student attempts on this individual question. So one thing to note that when this is added, you will have to turn on the assignment builder order to make sure it's all in the same order for your students. But these other checkboxes also apply as well. So if you hide the correct, then you would only see the questions, or only see the attempts for students who got this question incorrect. Now, along with any of the other things I'm about to mention as well, these are features which will be released in our next deployment, which should be very soon. All right, we've also made some changes to the export grades page. So this has been rewritten. So previously you had the print and export grades page, and when this is released, it will then now become the export grades page. So we condensed the settings. And student details section for really to make an improved user experience for you all. You can now select multiple instructors if you're an admin, as well as multiple sections and students. So using this page, you can export up to 1,000 students within Hawks. However, if you do have to export more than that, it will send it to you through an email. So this was a change that we made, really just trying to streamline this page and make it more user-friendly for anyone who is using it to export their grades. All right, and the last of the big changes that will be coming soon is the ability to require Respondus monitor for any of your web tests. So this is something that we've been working on for a while and is really to increase testing security. So this, just to note, is only going to be available for schools who already have access to Respondus monitor through your LMS. So if you do not have Respondus monitor available through your LMS, this will unfortunately not be available for you. So it cannot be used in conjunction with our current lockdown browser, which we already have available. And all of these Respondus monitor settings that you would put in place will have to be managed through your LMS. Where this will be located is right within the additional settings where you would previously turn on the Respondus lockdown browser. You will have to ask your training and support representative to enable this feature for you. But once enabled, you'll have the ability to require Respondus monitor. And that would mean that any student taking this web test would have to be using Respondus monitor along with it. Now, if you have not had this set up before previously, as I mentioned before, reach out to your training support representative. We'll be happy to go through this with you and help you get this set up once this is enabled after our next deployment. All right, so I'm gonna quickly pull up the questions. We know we had a few come in already. So thank you for everyone who submitted a question. And if anybody does have any additional questions right now, please feel free and go ahead and submit them and I'll answer as many as I can. All right, so someone asked if you're able to delete a course as well as just hide. Absolutely. So you're able to, with that new update, you're able to hide any of those old sections. However, from that same page where you can hide them, you can also delete out any of your old sections. The hide tool is really going to be for anyone who wasn't wanting to delete some of their old sections. Maybe they wanted to always hold on to a spring section or a fall section to use as a base to copy for future terms. But yes, you do have the ability to delete any of your old sections. All right, let's see, we have another question here. So the Hawk was asking about the tutor feature. So the tutor feature is available in practice, and that's going to help the students with those individual questions. So where I was showing that we made the change to the tutor button, that is going to be for any student who is working on a problem. The tutor feature is going to give students step-by-step directions, helpful hints, as well as the ability to look at a full solution of any of those problems. So that tutor feature is specifically built in to work along with the Hawks questions. All right, so I had those couple questions. All right, so it doesn't look like we have any other ones coming through. So I wanted to say thank you for everyone for joining. If you do have any additional questions, you can feel free to give us a call at 1-800-426-9536 or reach out to us at training@hawkslearning.com. Thank you all very much and hope you have a great holiday season.